Theodore Springer with a 3-run home run that vaulted the Blue Jays to the World Series in Game 7 of the ALCS as they held on to defeat the Mariners 4-3 at Rogers Center. It's Toronto's first appearance in the World Series since 1993, and it's a very unexpected appearance as well. Entering the season, the Jays were 60-1 to win it all. That was tied for the 8th longest odds in baseball. Meanwhile, the Dodgers were a heavy favorite at plus 275. Game 1 is set for Friday in Toronto. Mad Dog joining us right now. And Mad Dog, did the Blue Jays take this series, or did Seattle just blow it?
Well, that's a good one, and I'm going to say Seattle had a lot to do with this. Remember, only 4 teams have blown 2-0 leads when they win the first 2 games in a row. Seattle did that. Not many teams with a 3-2 lead going back on the road with a chance to have 2 opportunities to win 1 game, to get to a World Series, lose both. Seattle did that. And then, of course, last night, Seattle's got a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning, 9 outs away to going to their first ever World Series, and they blew that. Dan Wilson wasn't exactly Casey Stengel last night. I never would have taken out 4 innings. I can't allow the kid reliever to pitch to Springer when he had pitched 2 innings the night before, and his best reliever, Munoz, was in the bullpen. I wouldn't have bunted when it was 1-1 in the 2nd inning for the bottom part of his lineup. I mean, it's a brutal loss, Stevie, Chrissy, and Mr. Saturday. I mean, the Mariners haven't been in the World Series since they've been in the sport. They got a 2-0, 3-2, and then a 3-1 lead in Game 7. And Springer hits the ball to the moon in the bottom of the 7th inning. That is Seattle's never going to get over it. That's how bad that loss was. And I do think, man, Dan Wilson, the manager of the Mariners, made some pitching decision mistakes. And obviously the Blue Jays took advantage.
So I'm looking at the Blue Jays right now, and I'm thinking about them against the Dodgers. I give them a lot of props because I'm kind of surprised they came back after being down 0-2, especially losing the first 2 games on their own home turf, Doggy. I think that says a lot about their resolve. Vladimir Guerrero is something special. Speak to how special this dude is and the potential for him to galvanize this team against the Dodgers.
Now, 100%, Stevie. Well done. Guerrero has been, a subpar regular season, at least on his standards. He's a former MVP, $400 million contract, but he has just been fearless in his postseason. If it's possible, he outshined Judge in the divisional series when the Blue Jays beat the Yankees, and he was a big factor in this series. He gives them some confidence. They'll be a pain in the neck against the Dodgers. I don't think they're going to beat them. But, Steve, they're going to be a pain in the neck. They got home court, home field. Best team in the American League. They have a very good lineup. Dodgers have the week off. They have to navigate. Dodgers beat them in a regular season in L.A. I think the Blue Jays will handle themselves pretty well in this 7-game series. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they'll be very, very competitive. And as you said, Guerrero is excellent. Their lineup is very, very deep. They have decent enough starting pitching. I think it'll be a pretty good World Series. I don't think it's going to be a 7-game unbelievable classic, but I think it will be a pretty good World Series. I really do, and you make an excellent point. Guerrero is he's like his father. I mean, he's a tremendous hitter. No question about it.
And you know what? They got opportunistic hitters as well, so I give Toronto a lot of credit. I'm shocked at how OHTANI has struggled. I know he had a big hit last game, but I expected more from him in this postseason. He was struggling, obviously. Do you see any vulnerabilities from the Dodgers in this series in terms of their hitting? Because we expect the Dodgers to show up with their bats. I'm not sure that's something that we can definitively say against Toronto coming up in this World Series. I think this could end up going 7 games, Doggy.
Well, I hope you're right, Steve. Here's what I would say about the World Series. If you're going to pull off a huge upset, if you're like the Blue Jays and they'd be a big underdog, I think you got to win the first game. Milwaukee had a chance to win the first game, 9th inning, bases loaded, Turang strikes out, put a little fear into the Dodgers in their bullpen. When the Giants beat the Indians and Mays made that great catch, 54, they were a huge underdog. They won Game 1. They swept the Indians. When the Pirates beat the Yankees in 60, Mazeroski hit the huge home run, huge underdog. They won Game 1 at Yankee Stadium. When Gibson hit the home run against the A's in 88, they were a huge underdog, the Dodgers. Gibson hit the home run against Oakland in the 9th inning of Game 1 at Dodger Stadium. They beat them in 5 games. So I think in order for Toronto to have a chance here, they need to win this first game on Friday night. I think that will be very, very important. Listen, I think if the Dodgers have any vulnerabilities here, I still think it's their bullpen, Steve. I mean, they're going to pitch Snell, and they're going to pitch Glasnow. They're going to pitch Yamamoto and probably OHTANI. Those 4 are excellent. You know, OHTANI, Betts, and Freeman, they have enough hitting. I think their bullpen could get them in a little trouble. But keep an eye on game 1, Steve. I think that's the key game. If the Blue Jays win game 1, give the Dodgers something to think about. Like the Pacers did last year against OKC. Huge underdog. They won game 1. Right there, the whole series, they played a game 7. I think sort of what the Blue Jays will have to do here to have a chance to win.
My last comment would be this to you and Amina. The Dodgers in their rotation, I mean, since the Reds, the wild card series, Dodgers starters, 140 ERA with 81 strikeouts and 64 in the 3rd innings. Their rotation, I mean, these brothers show up. Yeah. It's going to their bullpen, obviously. If you're Toronto, you got to make sure you're not swinging at early pitches. You got to make sure they'll link the at-bats to get the starters out there to get to their bullpen. It seems like that's going to be Toronto's best chance. And I think Toronto could pull that off to make this a 7-game series.
Yeah, the Blue Jays definitely
their pitching has been great, Steve. 100%. No, OHTANI had that historic game on Friday night. Let's see how he handles his World Series.
That's right.
Good job.
Exactly.
See you tomorrow.
Everyone will be looking for it. Thanks so much, Matt.
All right, Dougie.
All right, coming up.
7. North of the border, Vlad Guerrero repping Toronto. Got an Austin Matthews sweater on. Game 7, Blue Jays and Mariners. Up north, pick it up, bottom of 1. Blue Jays down 1-0. Runner at first. Guerrero stays hot. 2 aboard now for the Blue Jays. He's fired up. 2 batters later, it's Dalton Varsho, 1st and 2nd, and 2 out, and it's a base hit. Right back up the middle. George Springer will score. Blue Jays dugout fired up. Guerrero loves it too. Blue Jays tied at 1. Now we're in the 3rd. Julio Rodriguez. He's been insanely hot in this postseason, and that would continue. That one is gone. A solo shot. His 4th home run of these playoffs. Mariners a 2-1 lead. And you know, Seattle's never been to the World Series. They can start to smell it in the 5th with the same score and the bases empty and nobody out. And the big dumper at the plate. And rolling in the seats. His 5th of the playoffs. Tied for the most by a catcher in any postseason. Mariners up 3-1, but then the moment they'll talk about forever. Bottom of 7, 2 on, 1 out. George Springer at the plate. Carl Ravitch at the mic.
The 1-0. Swing and a drive, left field. This one is back. George Springer just had his Kirk Gibson moment. A Springer dinger. Blue Jays 4, Mariners 3.
Touch them all, George. You'll never hit a bigger home run. His 23rd in the postseason. Blue Jays up 4-3. Stays that way. 9th inning, same score. Mariners down to their final out. Cal Raleigh's on deck. Rodriguez at the plate. And he swings through strike 3.